indiscipline, corruption, squandermania.
He was a soldier, a ruler, and for many a symbol of discipline. A man whose name stirs both admiration and debate across the Nigerian landscape. Muhammadu Buhari was not just a leader, he was a force, one that shaped decades of Nigeria's political journey.
Buhari's public life was marked not just by official positions, but by a strong connection with many Nigerians. His reputation for integrity, as attested to by General Gawan, who was his boss, discipline, and national commitment, earned him lasting support, especially in the northern parts of the country and later the south, and gave him that nickname of "Say My Gaskia."
I feel so bad because he's one of my favorite leaders. When he was a military head of state, he's the one that bring war against indiscipline. Apart of that, he really worked for this country as a leader. He even hold PTF, so I sympathize with the whole nation. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Born on December 17, 1942, in the dusty town of Daura, Katsina State, Muhammadu Buhari was the 23rd child in a large Fulani family. From humble beginnings, he joined the Nigerian army and began a long journey that would take him through battlefields, boardrooms, and eventually the highest office in the land.
As has already been announced, the Supreme Military Council met yesterday and after an exhaustive deliberation approved your appointments as military governors for the 19 states of the Federation. Your choice for this assignment is based mainly on your personal merit and the confidence which the members of the Supreme Military Council have in your ability to discharge the responsibilities of a military governor in the best interests of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and without fear or favor, affection or ill will, in accordance with the oath which you have just taken.
In 1983, amidst growing national unrest and political dissatisfaction, Buhari led a military coup that overthrew the democratic government of Shehu Shagari. At just 41, he became Nigeria's military head of state. With a firm hand and a rigid sense of order, he launched the war against indiscipline, a national campaign that emphasized honesty, punctuality, and civic responsibility. But his rule was brief. In 1985, he was overthrown by his own comrades and spent years in political silence. Yet, Buhari's journey was far from over. For 2 decades, he remained a quiet but determined voice in Nigeria's public life. He contested presidential elections in 2003, 2007, and 2011, losing each time, yet never walking away from the call to serve. Then, in 2015, history changed. Running on the platform of the newly formed All Progressives Congress, Buhari made a stunning comeback. For the first time in Nigeria's history, an incumbent president was defeated in a democratic election. Buhari had returned, this time not by the gun, but through the ballot. As president, he promised to fight corruption, restore security, and rebuild the economy. He declared himself a converted Democrat and took the oath of office with a vow to lead Nigeria with integrity and justice. His administration tackled Boko Haram insurgents, launched nationwide social intervention programs, invested in agriculture, and fought to plug the leaking holes of public finance, yet challenges persisted. His leadership was often described as slow and distant. It took nearly 6 months to form a cabinet. In 2016, Nigeria fell into its worst recession in decades. Inflation soared, jobs disappeared, and in October 2020, young Nigerians took to the streets in protest during the End SARS movement, a national outcry against police brutality that tested his administration's response to justice and reform.
During his 8 years presidency, Buhari tried his best to contend with the overwhelming problems. One of such is the security situation in the country, in Nigeria. The officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces, and please excuse me sort of making this because I think I belong to that group. Buhari tried his best to contend with the overwhelming problems, and one of such is the security situation in Nigeria.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari is a man whose leadership stood on the pillars of integrity, accountability, prudence, as well as patriotism. Under his stewardship, Nigeria witnessed a decisive push to confront insecurity, a serious commitment to infrastructure renewal, a renewed focus on self-reliance, and a clear effort to sanitize the public sector.
President Buhari, there will be several more books written about him, several. We have read Working with Buhari. We will soon see Laughing with Buhari. And today we're seeing According to Buhari. I know that this particular occasion is one where we celebrate him and where we will also celebrate his tenure.
Father for us, he's the father of Nigeria, so I work for Nigeria. That's why I say I miss him.
Despite criticism, Buhari completed his second term in 2023, handing over power peacefully and walking away from the presidency, fulfilling the constitutional mandate and his own promise to uphold democracy. On July 13, 2025, Muhammadu Buhari died in a London clinic after a prolonged illness. He was 82. In the hours that followed, the Nigerian nation paused. President Bola Tinubu declared a national mourning period. Flags were lowered, tributes poured in from across the country and around the world. The chapter had closed. To some, Muhammadu Buhari was a disciplined reformer who stood against corruption. To others, he was a rigid leader who struggled to adapt to the democratic expectations of a changing Nigeria. But in the end, he was undeniably part of the country's defining moments, from the battlefield to the ballot. From soldier to president, Muhammadu Buhari leaves behind a legacy that will be studied, debated, and remembered for generations to come. May his soul rest in peace.